everyone. Hey, remember I said I was going to do a collaboration with Mel? Well, the sweet man. We always think that we're superhuman, and he's been doing a lot of collaborations. So we have changed it from tonight to Saturday. You know, this political energy and what's going on with our country now, it's zapping everybody's energy, at least 30% of it. And they don't even know it. Even those who never pay attention to politics, it's affecting them as well. And if you're like me, who do this for a living, and we do pay attention and we're always scrolling and trying to find out what's going on, it's hard to say this out loud, but I am always energetically tapped into what's going on with the atmosphere because I want to know the moment it all shifts again. So those are the things that I am doing. I don't know what you guys are doing, but it's so true. What can we do? There's nothing we can do about it until it's done and over with. There's been a few things that I have been doing to rejuvenate. We have, if anybody's been here in Colorado Springs, we have what we call Cave of the Winds. So the Cave of the Winds, the cave is dead, is what they call it. It's not alive anymore. That means there's no growth going on. But they do give tours inside this cave. And the reason why it's called the Cave of the Winds is because there's a big opening, and when the wind blows through, you can hear it, and that's the Cave of the Winds. And anyhow, you can look it up. You can see what I'm talking about. What we have here is a professional here, and I can't remember her name. I'm probably gonna mess it up. Anyways, she does, I'll post it right here. Her name and the whole situation, I'll post it right here. She does what we called she did a moon sound healing bath inside the cave. Oh yeah. I sure did. So, and it lasts for about 45 minutes to an hour where she has all of these bowls stuck everywhere and she has these like tools of noise and sounds and all that. She's just really good at it. And I think her husband helps with a lot of it. He's also walking around and activating the bowls and dinging them and running this thing around it to make it sing. And anywho, I took my neighbor. My neighbor is elderly and she's dealing with long-term COVID. And so I also took her into the cave see if we can get some healing for her as well. So that's one of the things I did. So while I was in there, because you're inside the cave, you can't get really much closer to the earth, inside. And she also called it, the womb of the earth. That's what caves are, the wombs. So while I was in there, I thought, you know what? I'm going to see if I can do some remote viewing and see what I see while I'm in there, just for fun, for funsies. And it was at first I wasn't getting anything. I'm like, okay, I must be here for me, and nothing's coming through. There was at least 70 people there, so I thought, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this because I'm also laying amongst all of the healing that was going on as well. I'm not doing the healing, but I'm involved in witnessing it. So, anywho, you know how I love saying that. The only thing that I could do was there was a whole bunch of stone figures. And I did skew it. I'm like, is there anything politically that I can get in this and I can remote view and see what I can do? So there was a whole bunch of stoned figures, and I kind of think I was watching a scene with the Republicans or MAGA or whatever, but they're like solid stone, and they're like a conveyor belt, and they were coming up and out of this hole, going to like the top, and then they were all funneling down into the abyss of the earth. And that was my visual. And each one of them, if you can imagine, they all had human-like features, but they were stone. And they were all moving. And you could hear the movement of the rock. At least I could. I could hear the movement of the rock as they were moving down back into the earth. And I thought, huh, that's interesting. Now, it doesn't mean that there's no Democrats out there that haven't woken up either. They could be in the crowd. That's not what I'm trying to say here. It's just Republicans. It was pretty much the feeling of anybody that needed to be to go back in, to redo it, to whatever, right? And I asked him like, okay, what does this mean? What are you trying to show me and what are you trying to tell me? And it literally had the feeling of um they just will not they're turned to stone. They just will not budge. And it reminded me of, remember in the Bible there was a story where Lot's wife turned around and she turned to stone, right? Because she couldn't resist the temptation to turn around. Now, the story, I don't know if it's real or I'm not here to argue that. However, I thought that was the first thing that I thought was that they just cannot not, the temptation of whatever, racism, lies, deceit, money, whatever it kind of gave me that little feeling of what the Bible was alluding to when he talked about his own wife that couldn't resist and turned around, she turned to stone. I thought that was very interesting little thing that I got. So I come from there. My neighbor, she has to have oxygen and stuff like that. She was in there. It went okay. I'm not complaining whatsoever. And then after that, I had a grandmother from the Lakota tribe. She calls me up the next day and says, "Hey, we're doing lodge Saturday at 5 p.m. Please join us." So I not only went into the cave and did that, I then went to and from an invite to lodge and did a sweat lodge. And if you don't know anything about that, Google that because I'm not going to explain that to you. I don't even know if I should, but I can say that I went. And so even when then I had that, and then while I'm doing the lodge and stuff like that, I also get this overwhelming feeling that every state and every person in this country has to start fighting and advocating for themselves. That's what they're afraid of the most. And it just came and like, this is logical. This makes sense. But literally, I sitting here in Colorado, unless they come here and I rise up and protest against them, that's my job. But every city, every person, or Denver, there's a lot of protests. I haven't been able to get up to the Denver protests, but it's like I got this aha. Everybody has to start fighting for themselves. The reason why that we kind of have been in this little rut is because women have been suppressed, children have been suppressed, gay, black, trans, all of them. The repressed have not been able to have the courage to fight or to stand up for themselves. And this is the opportunity. Stand up for yourself. Don't submit. And it was like an aha. Yes. I have to stop worrying about each state. Each state has an obligation and a responsibility to stand up and advocate for themselves. And they're doing it, right? They're doing it. You should see Chicago. I have my son's there and his wife and and my first husband, all of his extended family is up there, so I know a lot. of the family and the members up there, and um, they're funny people. And they remind me a lot of Ukraine people, where they did all of this stuff and made them funny. Like they put the whole bunch of salt trucks along the road to slow them down. What melts ice? Salt. What they also have a whole bunch of machinery on the road to slow them down. You know, they're just doing stuff. They're doing stuff. Up in Chicago, they're like, we're different. We're different. We are that's how they came up. We're different. So they also have to advocate and fight for themselves. So I'm starting to get this sense of pride within me. Yes, whatever the little monster's doing, he's monstering, and all of them are monstering very well. No doubt. He's trying to distract us all from his horrible antics, you know, with Epstein. He's monstering. However, I'm starting to feel that pride that I used to have for the United States. There's also reports out, you know, that are coming leaking out. I haven't verified in them, but we all knew that Trump cheated and they did something to the votes of Kamala Harris. We all know she won. You know, I am on the boat. I am on the on the sail. I'm leading the charge on that, if you will. Yeah, yeah. He cheated. That's the only explanation I can come up with as to how every single one of us came up with, you know, Kamala Harris was going to win. But we just didn't think that the cheating would work, to be honest. But it did. Okay, so I'm not really here to do much. Sorry. But I have this beautiful new pendulum. A lot of people don't really care for pendulums. They think that you know, you can manipulate them. I think, and this is just a complete opinion of my own. I've gotten pretty good at pendulums. I can stay as still as possible, and I ask the energy to move it and do this and that. What? It, that's weird. Do you see that? My Buddha is coming to life. Squirrel. Anyways, we're gonna go move on. So I got these pendulums, and so I'm pretty good at it. I'm sorry, but I am. I think a lot of people that don't realize that they have to trust the energy and trust the pendulum, uh, think that it's fake and they're doing it themselves. I don't know. Lack of trust of your divination tools will lead you down the path of feeling fake. I just started to just really truly get on board of just trusting my tools, my cards, my pendulum. I even have this yes and no. I don't know if I can get it done because of the thing on there, but yes and no coins that I just flip and say, like, is Trump going to make it to the end of December? No. I got a no on that. That's a big fat no. So there's that. All right, with all that said, let's do some yes or no questions and then we'll get out of here, right? Okay. And then remember, all of us know on this side, maximum pressure to this administration at all times. We do not stop pressuring. And everybody out there, as many times and all the suppression that they've been trying to do, it is a pressure campaign on whatever's going on. So, all right. So what I do is I hold my pendulum up because I have to hold my hand. I make it really, really, really still. I'm just going to show you. So yes will be this way, back and forth. No would be sideways. And a lot of times I'll get a circle, meaning energy is still working its way through. And sometimes it'll slightly move, and I'm thinking the feeling I get is maybes. Okay. All right. So first question up. All right. So how's Trump's health? Is it worse than what they're saying? Is it worse than what they're saying? Is it worse than what they're saying? And I am getting a circle, but a yes. I am getting a yes. Yes, it's worse than we all knew that. We don't need a psychic to tell us that. Okay, so I'm just testing it out. Now my coin said no. He's not going to make it to the end. Let's see what my pendulum says. Will Trump make it to the end of December alive? I'm just going to go in. Okay, stay still. Will Trump make it to the end of December alive? Ah, okay, it's saying no. It's saying no. Okay. I know it looks like it's going in circles, but I can see it going back and forth. So no. So here's that. What other question do we need to know? What other question do we need to know? Midterms. Well, we're gonna just try to get through that. Will JD Vance be accepted? Will JD Vance be accepted as president? Will JD Vance be accepted like Trump? Will the energy shift to JD Vance? Will the energy shift to JD Vance? I can kind of see it and it's already going no. So the energy is not going to shift to um, JD Vance. When Trump dies, will the MAGA movement finally be complete? When Trump dies, will the MAGAs go away? Yes. Yes. Yes, they will. Yes. Okay. So there's that. I love using these. I absolutely love using these. I literally moved from Kansas to Colorado on a flipping of a coin. Should I go or should I stay? No, 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 no. Should I go or should I stay? I flipped my quarter and it was like heads yes, tails no, like normal, Pap. Tails or heads. Heads yes. Go. I was like, bye. Okay, let's do some of these. I'm gonna get out my true crime and just literally look at the energy. These guys. Look at the energy of the next couple of months. Okay. My feeling is that there's going to be something major health-wise around Halloween. And the reason why I keep on thinking that is because it's almost like we get to pounce on Halloween ghouls and all of that as to the reason why he's not surviving. But I'm trying not to be happy about that, but you know what? I don't mourn the wicked, and nor do I celebrate his life. I don't do that for the wicked. He's wicked. So, y'all, whoever has a complaint about that, move along. I don't have the time or the crayons to explain to you why I'm not apologetic about it anymore. I'm just not. Okay, here we go. First up, first card, abuse and neglect. Okay, well, that's the evidence that's going to come out. I don't know how to get these. Oh, there we go. Abuse and neglect. All right, first quarter. That comes out a lot. Inside Inside the tunnel. So inside the tunnel makes a lot. They're getting in there, they're going to the basement, they're finding out, they're searching inside. The inside is going to be exposed. We also, this comes up with him a lot. I don't think somebody's going to commit that. I just think that like the party, the whole situation, I mean, his behavior, the Republicans sticking to him, everything, they're just literally committing homicide in their party. Entertainment purposes only. But that's exactly what's happening. Can't make that up, can you? No, duh. It's a cult and organized crime. Here's something else, and I'll quit with this. I have been having the feeling in that, you know how Trump loves to run his own business? I think because he's arrogant and he's a control freak, I think that he capitalized on what Epstein was doing and he made money. I think that he partaked in what was going on. He was not going to miss out on the money and opportunity and the clout. He wasn't going to miss out on that. I just think that everybody has Epstein here is the main guy when I think it was partnerships. And I just think that Trump has a little bit more to do with that whole criminal ring than we think. I just do. It's my thing. So, all right. I hope everybody's doing well, and I will see you on Mel's channel. I think we're doing a recorded. I don't know if we're doing live or not. I don't know. Whatever he decides. Uh, it is what it is. I will be over there on Saturday. Oh, and then tomorrow I will be on Hogarth's as usual. At least I think so. I think I'm there this. Anyways, I'll be there or I won't. Who knows? All right. Bye.